And we are live.
Early in the morning, rising to the street. Light me up that cigarette and I'll strap shoes on my feet.
Well, you know, the reason I think this karaoke thing will work is because most of the time, the people tuning in usually miss the first few seconds anyways.
All right, you're building an audience here.
Yeah. And, you know, you got to wait for the notification, and then the person's got to swipe the phone, and then, they forgot it's on mute, so they got to turn up the volume.
And check. And how is our volume today? Everything on point?
I think we sound amazing today.
Listen, my political expert, was yesterday an exciting day for you?
No. It's let me just say that I'm glad that I do not live on your side of the bay.
Yeah.
Not a good night for Republicans.
Is it really, when it comes down to local stuff like that? I know they tried to make it more than usual, a right wing versus left wing or a Republican versus Democrat thing. But normally that it's not about that locally, right?
No, locally that's typically not the case. But the mayor's race got real partisan.
Yeah, it did. Yeah.
And it's unfortunate because really it shouldn't be that way. And I think once you kind of break that standard, right, then I think we're gonna see that going forward. And as we saw last night, I mean, the city of St. Petersburg is pretty evenly divided politically. It was a really close race. I think Kreisman lost by a little over a percent. Yep. And
Kreis that was 51.5 to like 48.5, something like that, I believe.
Right.
So
again, that it shows that it's an evenly divided city. The rest of the county is more or less the same. They are again, it's a very purple county, and I think Baker was a fantastic mayor, and I think Kreisman made a lot of mistakes, and at least in my opinion, wasn't very deserving of a second term. Well,
he's got himself. Are we supposed to be a 5G1?
5G-1, yeah.
-1, there we go.
Mm-hmm.
I'll speed things up a little bit. Something went wrong. We're having trouble playing this. Just share the damn video, will you? Oh, good morning. Hey, everybody. Speaking of sharing, make sure you share yourself. What are you watching? You're watching, this is our 4th test show of the new show that will be launching on Friday. What's the name of the show? We can't tell you yet. We had a packed house last night at a Boulevard Burgers, Johnny.
Yeah.
And it was the standing room only, and the most teams, listen, I'm not bragging or anything. I'm just saying we had a good night. But the most teams that we ever had out there since I began the trivia nights on Tuesdays at Boulevard.
They're out there to see the fish, man.
Right. That's what it was. And we had 17 teams out there. And so I'm talking to, the matter of fact, because
massive.
I have a screen like this when I'm doing trivia, so I hook my spreadsheet up to it and people can see the scores, right?
Yeah.
So I pulled up this. I pulled up what we did yesterday. And I let everybody know that, hey, that we're doing. Oh, what is that little feature? That little picture,
like
window
that?
And window.
You like that?
What are you doing? Look at that.
Well, it's really for me, so that way, we can.
Oh, that is awesome.
We can see each other, as we are dialoguing, or the audience can see both of us while we're talking. So
there's that Inception that you're talking about there in the
that's
background.
That's right. There it is.
Trapped.
Look now, that's so cool.
But yeah, so I pulled this up on the screen there, and I started playing some of it. I started letting everybody know that we've started a new show, and everybody's going, "What station is it on? What station is it on?" I'm like, "No, it's Facebook Live." And then come Friday, you'll be able to find it on multiple platforms, and this and this and this.
Yeah,
and there was a brewery out there. I don't want to mention any names because I don't want to go jinx anything.
Luckily, there's plenty of them.
Well, there was a brewery out there specifically was very excited about what he saw. And we talked afterwards, and we may have our first sponsor very quickly.
Man, that's exciting. We haven't even officially launched yet.
No, and so I don't want to give away any details, and you never know how, and you're at a gig, the guy might be having a good time. Oh, this is great, exactly what we're looking for, man. I'm going to call you tomorrow, and you never hear from him again.
Well, the cool thing is too, because again, you and I met through a very cool event called Beer and Bow Ties, and in talking to Kim, who's one of the organizers, we talked about, she loves what we're doing. She's also in the digital marketing space, and she gets it, right? And she goes, oh, man. She goes, I'm going to tell my clients about you. So the idea is that we could have some very cool giveaways here shortly that we're going to be using to build our audience.
And he was asking me questions about what we're doing. And how it could benefit, how they can get involved and so on. I go, yeah, well, the company that I've hooked up with, Bake More Pies, they're marketers. They, in the digital space, and we do things like, you get some kind of a code, and as people are watching the show, they click on a link or they download something, whatever.
That's right.
And then go to your support, all the bars in town or restaurants in town that are supporting your brands, and turn that code in, or just show their phone, a little scan, beep, and there you go. And then it's very trackable. You know that the person that bought the beer, they bought that beer because they were watching us, and download a little something or whatever.
Exactly. And really the idea is going to be to have those kind of deals, those kind of offers that people can go to our website and download to show their support for the show, and also to benefit from being part of our audience.
Remember yesterday during the show how I got a phone call from my neighbor?
Yes. So how much of your stuff got stolen?
So I got a phone call from my neighbor, brand new neighbor, because we're new in a neighborhood where we just bought a house. We're moving in. We're still moving in. And he texted me and said that the garage door was open and my wife had already gone to work. So I asked him if he could do it. I was... The quandary I had was whether or not to give the guy my code, and I think it was you. Did you say no? He just goes in there, hit the button, and just jump over the laser.
That's right.
And I go, well, yeah, I think he's 66, is what he told me. So, guess how many tries it took him?
Oh no.
This
would be a good trivia question.
Guess how many tries it took him to get the garage door down?
When I moved, I remember I didn't quite have the timing down, right? Because it's a timing thing, and I'm gonna guess 5. I'm going to say it took him 5 tries before he was able to exit the garage successfully.
It was 3.
3.
It took him 3.
That's not bad.
Yeah, it was the classic 1, 2, 3. The first time he tripped the laser, the second time he tripped the laser, and the third time he was able to get over the laser and out of the garage in time.
Nice. So you did not have a captive neighbor in your garage?
No. But now I'm getting yelled at this morning. Because, here's one of the things, moving from a tiny apartment to a house with multiple doors and windows and everything, you're getting used to learning, you have to lock everything and this and that. So I'm getting yelled at right now. Why was the garage door to the outside fully unlocked? The garage door to the outside? I never used that door.
Uh-oh. Someone is severely stalking your garage.
Like what? I never used that door.
Now, is this the wife texting you?
Yeah. That's right. You've never been married. They need something to yell at before they, get out the door. And
it's part of your healthy breakfast.
I just noticed no, hold on. Why was the garage door to the outside fully unlocked? Oh, I don't know. I haven't touched that door since we moved in. So,
and that's what she's saying. Mm-hmm.
Right. Whatever, man.
So, quick shout out to Blake Bass. He's like, still singing Sublime, huh?
Early in the morning.
Speaking of which, right?
Yes, sir.
Maybe you got to kick things off with a little Sublime this morning.
I've got an idea. I've got a suggestion. I want to run by you in a second. But Blake Bass came out to a trivia night last night. It was great to see him because he was the producer of my show back at AM 820.
Cool.
Which you got fired from, 6 weeks ago. Or they cut the show. My wife hates when I say I got fired. I was laid off. They cut the show.
Like when they cancel a TV show, it just got canceled. That's all. It just.
But Blake is awesome, and he always comes out to trivia nights. It was good to see him.
Nice.
So when I would come in the morning, I can't help it. There's always like a song in my head that I have to sing out loud and get it out and move on. And usually that song was early in the morning, rise into the street. Light me up a cigarette and I'll strap shoes. What? Facebook's kicking
save it.
Wait.
Don't go there yet if you're not going to lay down the music track.
Facebook is kicking me off because I sound just like Brad Knoll.
I'm sure.
Is that what's going on here?
That's exactly what's happening.
You got all your Christmas shopping done?
Please. I haven't even got my Halloween shopping done.
46 days. Your Halloween shopping.
I bought zero candy this year.
Yeah, we didn't do Halloween. We could have, but I was working that night, so she would have been by herself. We're only in the new house 1 week, and she would be there by herself giving out candy.
Yeah,
and so we didn't do anything this year. Next year.
Well, my ex and I actually just recently split up, right? So I'm in a new neighborhood. I wasn't going to be there, for trick or treat hour anyways, so that's why I didn't buy candy. She bought candy, and she lives in a brand new neighborhood.
Ooh.
And had nobody come by, like no trick-or-treaters.
Oh, wow.
So luckily she's a high school teacher, so now she has plenty of treats to give her students here and for the rest of the school year.
46 days, 16 hours, 40 minutes, and 17 seconds.
People are going to hate on you for this.
For what? That I'm trying to jam Christmas down their throat to
That's right. The Christmas creep.
I don't think it's my fault. I don't think this is something that you point a finger at me at. I think this is an indicator of just how much it's jammed down all of our throats.
Well,
that I feel compelled to do this at this time.
Look, Target had Christmas stuff even like almost at the same time as they were rolling out the Halloween stuff. So we're talking like early October, late September, and they were legitimately, they had like a tiny little section, but it was there, and it was like little Christmas lights and this and that. Like it was they were trying to be discreet about it, but I'm like, I see you, Target. I see you.
Thank you so much for tuning in and for watching. I'll keep saying tuning in. I apologize. I'll try to quit saying that. But this is Facebook Live.
They're tuning in. They're tuning into the show. It's still a broadcasting platform.
I mean, yeah, I guess, in a sense. But share this and tag your friends if you could. We are going to go live with this new show on a Friday morning. We're going to launch the official new show with the show title. And that's another thing too. Last night at Boulevard, I was telling everybody about the new show, and they make sure you come aboard.
I can only imagine what that conversation must have been like.
But I can't tell you. I can't tell you the show name or how to track down. I can't give you the website yet. I can't give you the YouTube channel yet. But it's coming. It's coming.
Yeah, so I can't tell you where to find this show that I'm doing, but it's going to be out there somewhere on the interwebs, and we want you to support it, even though we have no idea where it's going to be.
All right. The latest on the Texas church shooter attended celebration with parishioners day before the. Oh, by the way, what you're watching behind me on the screen is me prepping live. I got home. So I ended up at Boulevard because I was talking to the gentleman from the brewery.
That's right.
And so I didn't get home until after 10:30, and I went to bed about a little after midnight. I was like, I'll get up early because what time have you been setting your alarm for to get up for this?
Well, I found a new feature, and I wasn't sure what this new feature on my phone did, right? But when you set up the alarm, it gives you the option to turn on or turn off the snooze, right? And again, now it seems obvious, but I said, I wonder what this does. So I selected the feature to turn off the snooze. And what ended up happening was that it actually, once you hit the snooze once, that's it. It turns off the alarm. It's done. And
that's crap.
That's, yeah. And very dangerous, and especially for me, which is why I have two alarms that go off. So the first one goes off at 5, second one goes off at 6. So I'm trying to get up at 5, but that, again, hasn't happened quite yet. My goal is at least 5:30. but I need to fix my alarm settings so that the snooze function actually works, and it pings me a few times before it even gets to 6 o'clock.
Mine has been set at 4:10, and 4:10 in the morning. And I think I've hit the snooze once on it. So that was Friday, Monday, and Tuesday.
Okay.
4:10, of course, and there was the time change, so that really feels like 3:10, right? Or does that feel like 5:10? I don't remember. And
just feels early as hell is what it feels like.
But after last night, I set my alarm for 5:15 this morning, and then hit the snooze twice, and rolled out of bed and ran in here. So yeah, this will be live prepping today. Again, these are test shows this week. We're testing out some new technology and set design.
I'd say set-wise, I think we're in a good place.
Me too. I like it.
We might add little knickknacks and stuff, and maybe some subliminal advertising. No,
we'll do something like that.
Yeah, like maybe a certain beer company's product in the background, just hanging out.
You mean in the background, in the foreground of my hand?
That's right.
Too early in the morning for that. All right, so let's get to the latest on Devin Patrick Kelly attended a fall festival at the First Baptist Church of Sutherland Springs 5 days before he killed people inside the church and wounded 20 others. The Wilson County Sheriff Joe Tackett said the church's pastor had told him that his behavior did not raise any alarms. The pastor told me, quote, "He was here at the festival Halloween night. Saw him in the crowd," Tackett told reporters. He did not say if the pastor provided any details on that visit, such as what the shooter was doing, whether he wore a costume, or anything else that stood out. So do you think this guy was casing the joint? Or I guess this kind of speculation is ridiculous.
Well, it's ridiculous because, at the end of the day, does it really matter?
I guess it matters to me when you're trying to understand how this kind of stuff happens so that you could get out in front of it possibly. So if the guy is there at Halloween and he's still torn and he's still trying to feel, he's still wondering if he can be accepted in a certain way by this group of people, then that's one thing. If he's there casing the joint, if he's there running recon, or checking, picking out the people that he definitely wants to kill when he does his thing,
right?
And that's another thing as well. But again, we're not going to know that motive.
But I think it's that sort of thing where the average person wouldn't know how to spot that behavior, even if that was the case, right? So again, if here, let's say, God forbid, but at our business here at Bake More Pies, if someone were to come in and case the joint and check us out and kind of be again up to no good, would we really recognize that behavior, right? That seems like a very specialized behavior that trained professionals are known, are well-versed in spotting. It's like one of those things like when cops can tell that you're lying or that you're...
Right.
It's one of those things that I think that takes a lot of expertise, a lot of training to spot that sort of behavior.
And I would imagine that the best that most people could do is go, well, that guy's weird. Or that was weird in that moment, and that's what it would register as to, I guess, the regular, the normal person. But maybe you're right for those who've been trained. Yeah, that was weird, but it was weird in a way that we need to keep an eye on that guy. But it still does, that's still not going to get to the bottom of anything. I heard a lot of talk yesterday about the reopening of mental health hospitals here in America, and I've heard this discussion a few times over the past 5 or 10 years. And, I was born in 1972, Jonny Torres born in 1980. But I guess it was in the 80s that we started to shut down mental health facilities, hospitals basically all across the country.
Sure, yeah. Now, the problem lies in the fact that many of those people
are on the streets.
On the streets or in our prisons. And which also, I think if you are genuinely suffering from mental health, to the point where you are a danger to others, I don't think prison's the right place for you either.
No, of course not. All right, so to you, is prison deterrent? What is prison? Why do we send people to prison? Is it to get them turned around and get them back into society? Is it to punish them and make them feel a pain?
I think it is a punishment. I think that's exactly what it should be. I think it's, but again, I think we've gotten away from its original intent. I think in some cases, they're given, it varies, right, from facility to facility, but there are some facilities where, it'd be more, it'd be less expensive to send them to Harvard than it would to keep them incarcerated for an entire year.
Right.
And that doesn't do anybody any good.
So we start a show on Friday, and I'm trying to. I'm right now in my head. I'm going, what's tomorrow going to sound like? If I'm dragging like this today after a simple trivia night. Well, tonight I got karaoke.
And I was thinking about joining you like I did last week because I had a blast. But I'm also, I'm already running low. Last night I got a good amount of rest, but the night before I think I got maybe 3 hours if I'm lucky.
Damn females.
And man, I don't know if I can pass up karaoke, man. And I'm almost willing to risk a lack of sleep to come and hang out and sing a few tunes.
Let's see. Come on. Hey, we're the monkeys. There's got to be. I don't have any monkeys.
You don't have any monkeys?
You would think. I have Arctic monkeys. I don't have any monkeys. What do you want to sing this morning, Neil Diamond?
I thought you were going to go first.
Man, all right. Here, all right. If I go first, this is what I'm singing.
Oh, jeez. I'll apologize in advance.
Yeah, please do. This is the best you're going to get.
You're going to go with that, are you?
What the hell? Come on. Don't you give me it's too early for file not founds.
Yeah. You're going to go with that, are you?
I got to close this.
Yeah. Mute our streaming window. Yeah, there we go. Quick shout out to those watching. My buddy Reagan, who also, recently started off his own company up in the Newport Richey area, doing some killer work in the remodeling business. Sammy Ortiz, who also, I got your Instagram message. I will be responding to you later today. Sammy, very excited about what we're doing here. So he wants to come check us out and get a little insight, maybe join our little broadcast facility. We'll see. We'll talk about that when he comes by.
And my karaoke program is freezing up, which is probably best for everybody.
Maybe it's a hint, right?
All right, so we'll just
sparing everyone.
We'll have to do it a cappella style. Early in the morning, rising to the street.
Oh man!
Holy crap! I was. What's the date?
Today, the 8th.
Oh man! Screw Christmas. My wife's birthday is just a few days away.
And you're just now remembering?
Well, listen, we've had a lot going on over the past couple of weeks. Moving into a new home is not easy. Buying a home is very stressful. I let a couple of things slip through the cracks recently.
So any ideas yet? Like, is it the kind of situation where, like, you know her really well and, you've got it, like, it's easy to, like, okay, I know exactly what I'm going to do for her birthday. Or is it like, oh my God, like what in the world could I possibly do for another birthday?
She's very frugal. We've just spent a lot of money, and money is flying out the door, right?
Lauren's listening. She goes, Monday to be exact. In case anyone's taking notes.
Wait, what do you mean she's listening?
Watching, listening.
My Lauren?
Yeah, man. Right there in the comments section.
Should she be off the... Honey, you're late.
They're streaming it at work is what it's happening.
You need to get on the road.
She's got the whole office watching, and she's going to be like, watch. He's going to forget.
It's not. I will not forget, but I have to be very careful. I can't just go out and buy something nice for her because that would be the exact opposite of a happy birthday. If I came in and there was a gift that was more than like $20, $30,
okay,
it would not be a happy birthday. I don't care, like, if it was I got her front row seats to her favorite show of all time and whatever. Yeah. If it was more than like $30, she will not be happy.
Really?
No.
Is it a frugalness? Is it which is
she would call it frugal.
Okay. Should I even ask what you would call it?
She and I are very. I need her in this capacity because money means nothing to me.
Yeah.
I'm not going to stress out about anything when it comes to that kind of stuff, and that can set up for some bad financial. Like for instance, my credit sucks. Hers is awesome. And
which is why you married appropriately.
No, that's not why I married. She has great assets.
Hey now.
And so she's very proud of that. She's worked very hard, and for somebody her age to have the credit score that she has is not easy to do.
Yeah.
But with that comes a certain, I don't want to call it crazy. Let's call it passion.
Because I had a girlfriend who also didn't care for the expensive gifts. She wanted the thoughtful gift, which I think is the pressure that comes along with trying to come up with the thoughtful gift. Like she would have preferred. And again, as we both know, you and I are not the handy types, but she would have preferred that I make her something than to have bought her something at a store.
All right, let me ask you something. If I make something for the dogs,
okay,
our two little Yorkies, our children,
correct,
would that count? Like, honey, I made this for you I made this for the dogs, so it'll make you happy.
No,
that won't work.
No, sorry. I think that's a non-starter.
So, but here's the thing: I can't do anything because, I can't even go buy, let's say, print out some pictures and go put them in a picture frame because she's going to go, that doesn't match, or we're going to repaint this, and don't do that without talking to me first.
Right.
This is and some of you are laughing at home.
So even a dinner, like even like a lunch or a dinner, I
make dinner every night.
You do.
A special dinner.
So maybe just a cake? I don't know.
I've got less than a week, buddy. I've got less than a week to figure this out.
And then again, we're not the handy type, so building something or making something's almost out of the question.
I don't know what I'm going to do, but I know one thing. I'm going to bust a move.
Let's do it.
This here's a tale for all you fellas trying to do what those ladies tell us. Got shot down because you're overzealous. Play hard to get females get jealous. Okay, smarty, go to a party. Girl is scantily clad and showing body. Chick walks on and wish she could sex her, but she didn't. Poindexter. Next day's function, high class. Oh, that's enough of that.
Oh, music was really hot anyhow.
Oh,
so just
how's that?
A little bit more
down.
Yep. There we go.
Yeah.
Right there. We were talking about this last week, which is that when it comes to karaoke, I would say easily rap songs are the hardest.
There are, since I started hosting this, I can't sing. I host a karaoke night every single Wednesday night going back to this past February or March.
Right.
And I cannot sing, but I will try to fake my way through whatever songs I pull off.
Well, but like I tell, and I've been fortunate to enjoy singing, and I went to performing arts schools and stuff growing up, and while I can sing, and I'll say that confidently, I like the people that go to karaoke and cannot sing. I think that's part of the charm. That's part of the fun, the appeal. Rather than, I've gone to karaoke nights where it's a room full of ringers, where everybody has a phenomenal voice. They get up there, and all of a sudden, it's like, okay, great. So you could sing, and and you'll have a few performances that maybe stand out, but there's nothing fun about it. There's nothing like, oh, that's hysterical, or that was hilarious, or that was, And so the other night, that couple that got up and sang, I thought they were hysterical. That was my favorite performance of the night.
Yeah, because there was also a certain sense of urgency, a sense of something while they were up there, because we didn't know if they were going to fall off the stage or not. For the couple, I'm thinking, if I remember correctly,
at first,
I think they had to crawl up onto the stage in order to start singing.
At first, I'm like, why is this guy like creeping on her performance, right? It's like, let the girl sing. And then I realized, I think he was there more for not only moral support, but for physical support as well.
Right.
I don't think she was able to stand up there on her own without possibly causing harm to herself.
It's every Wednesday night at a Park and Rec downtown St. Pete, if you want to join me out there from 8 until midnight. So what Jonny Torres was talking. Go ahead, sir.
No, go ahead.
To what he was talking about earlier, you would think that rap songs, like if you're going to go in and you're like, I can't sing, so pull up a rap song. Well, you have a lot more appreciation for rap after you're done.
Absolutely.
And this is one of the first songs that I pulled up. I was like, oh, I'll be able to do this. And Biz Markie can't sing, Oh, baby, you got what I need, right?
Yeah. Oh, it's hot. Bringing that down.
But I want you to give this a stab, because you know the song, right?
Yes.
All right. I want you to give this a stab. Here we go.
But see, I don't even know all I know is the hook.
But, okay.
Oh, the music.
She wanted you to wait. Let me tell you a story about my situation. I was talking to a girl in the U.S. nation. The way that I met her was on tour at a concert. She had long hair and a short mini skirt. Actually, no, this one is pretty easy.
Bring the track down.
Oh, it's still too high?
Oh, yeah.
If I got that, on that 0 to 10, that is less than 1. I wonder if I can back off the gain on this one.
That might be the key.
If I did, I'd probably have to do it up here.
Maybe do it on the lyrics on the software.
I'll tell you what it was. Oh, yeah, you're right. Thank you, sir.
There we go.
And then I can do this.
Beautiful. Right there. They're just a smidge lower, and I think we'll be in the money spot. There we go.
All right, so maybe it wasn't you. Now, pick it up.
You got what I need. But you say he's just a friend. You say he's just a friend. Oh, baby, you got what I need.
Is it hard to not sing?
Yeah. Like I'm literally having to not sing.
Actually, that was a little bit easier now that I think about it.
That's the beauty of that song, is the fact that Biz Markie can't sing.
What stumped me, or what I thought I was going to do a much better job at, was Ice Ice Baby.
Everybody thinks, including myself, everyone thinks that they can do Ice Ice Baby. Everybody thinks they can do, because I would say the majority of people in our age range know at least the first lyric, maybe even the first 2 lyrics.
Stop, collaborate, and listen.
Yeah. But after that, that's where you lose people. That's where it gets tricky, and people don't realize it until they're halfway through the song, and then they're sitting with a blank look on their face while they're up on stage.
That was me. And I thought for certain, yo, VIP, let's kick it. Right. I thought for certain. All right, what?
Go for it. Let's hear it.
All right.
You thought for certain what?
I thought for certain I'd be able to do this. All right, stop. Collaborate and listen. The Ice is back with my brand new invention. Something grabs a hold of me tightly, flows like a harpoon daily and nightly. Will it ever stop? Yo, I don't know. Turn off the lights and I'll glow. To the extreme, I'll rock a bike like a vandal. Light up the stage and wax a chump like a candle. Dance. Crush. Actually, I'm nailing it.
We were hitting it, man. That was good.
No melody, anything less than the bet. Maybe that what it is. I need to sit down and rap. Is when I do karaoke, because if I'm standing up and trying to pull it off, I can't pull it off.
As you can see, I've always been a fan of the hype man in that situation.
The hype man is a very important part of the
hype man is the best.
That's right. Very important part of the process. Welcome to whatever the name of the show is going to be. Actually, we know exactly what it's going to be. We're very excited about it. Do us a favor and share and tag your friends. I'm Fisher. This is come Friday, and then subsequently after that, these shows will not be on Fisher the Man 123. I'll share them to Fisher the Man 123.
Yep.
But right now, the people behind the scenes are procuring all the websites and domain names and everything that we need for the new show. I'm really excited about it.
Oh, the platforms and branding.
All right, you were talking about it may not be as easy for us to do dual streams, because one of the thoughts we were having is, while we do this live, to separate the audio stream and send that out on some of the live streaming, or some of those services, so that for those of you that have those apps in your car and whatnot, you could listen to us while you're on your way to work. Not watch, but listen.
Yeah.
But you're saying that that is not as simple as flipping a switch?
No, it's not easy, and I have to acknowledge Jessica's comment, loving my backup vocals, and so thank you, Jessica, making my morning. You go, girl. Hey, girl. Sorry.
Hey, girl.
Yeah. So what happens is you got to think of it like again, it's streaming, right? So think of it like two rivers, right? And so they work independently. And they have different features to them and this and that. There's all kinds of, again, computer programming, coding stuff that happens. And so it's not simply just turning on the other channel or the other stream. There's an additional level of technology that you need to be able to do those simultaneously. Okay. Currently, that type of technology is somewhat expensive, but we are looking into workarounds. And I think, we were talking with Cords last night about the show. All of us, we digest the day's show afterwards and try to look for ways to keep improving on it. And I think we might have found a solution. And so I'm excited to be testing it out for maybe even tomorrow or the next day, to where we can simultaneously stream on Facebook and YouTube, or Facebook and maybe an audio stream that someone can, again, listen to in their car, because we also don't want to be hitting people's data limits and things like that. And so I think if we can either get an audio stream that people can tune into, or even a YouTube stream, because for example, my friend Catherine, they have Facebook blocked where she works, but not YouTube. And so she's like, well, if you guys broadcast on YouTube, I can watch the show.
I was over at a friend's house the other day, and she's so fed up with cable that it was Halloween. She said she called the cable company, said, screw you, get out of here, and just has internet. And she says they watch everything on YouTube. They even watch Monday Night Football on YouTube. And I was like, how are you doing that? Like, oh, you can be streaming somewhere. But if something happens to that stream, you just go to another one. You can find it everywhere. Yeah. So it's not a perfect way to watch whatever, to consume content. But
I lived, I would say, probably for a year, maybe almost 2 years, with just Netflix and Hulu. And I'll tell you, that's more than enough. If all you do is get a solid internet signal, which I think is part of your problem with that you've been having with Spectrum, honestly, Netflix and Hulu, and now, of course, you got Amazon, too. If you've got Amazon Prime, there's just so much content out there in terms of TV shows and documentaries and movies that if you're open-minded enough, that there's just plenty of entertainment to go around, and there's no need for broadcast television. And like I said, if you're going to watch a sporting event, just go to a sports bar anyways. It's more fun.
Speaking of testing out technology, we are going to test out some technology with my buddy Tim Bryce. He's a freelance writer. He's great on the air, and writes very compelling. He's one of yours.
Oh yeah,
yeah, he's one of yours.
Yeah. He's on Team Johnny.
He's a Republican.
Oh, hold on, I got to bring out my new prop for this.
You have a new prop for?
I do have a new prop. So anytime we get political, I can just go.
Oh, nice. There you go. He's waving his American flag.
That's
America.
Right. That's right.
So
make America do something again.
He sent me a new article this morning that's on the Huffington Post. What does a constitutional convention mean? I don't want to talk to him about that.
Well, we got into, and again, I went down that rabbit hole yesterday and tried to explain it as simply as possible, but it's a very cool thing. If you're into government, politics, that sort of thing, it's a fascinating thing to dive into, because of course the possibilities are quite endless as to, again, hitting the reset button on the Constitution. But it's definitely a rabbit hole and way too much to go into at 7 o'clock in the morning.
So we'll talk about his last piece, which last week was the causes for morality decline. A lot of people feel like that morality is in decline, and he wrote a piece about it. And good dude, very good on the radio, or in a capacity like this. And we want to test out how it is we're going to include interviews and stuff like that in the show, and Skype. So we're going to Skype him this morning. We'll start there and see if that works. Then I'm thinking that tomorrow morning we'll try that Google Meetup or whatever that one is.
The Hangouts, yeah.
The Hangouts, yeah. Mm-hmm. Hangouts, Meetup, Hookup. I got to be careful which one.
That's Tinder.
Yeah, I got to be careful with that one.
Or Bumble, I heard, is the new one, as the kids call it. I think there's a new platform called Bumble.
I've heard of it, but I don't know anything about it.
Yeah, I haven't. Even as a newly single gentleman, I've decided to avoid those platforms for the time being, and hopefully for quite some time.
We'll see. We'll see how desperate you get.
It might make for some great show content, that's for sure.
Right. Yeah. He goes, "What do you want to talk about? Let's talk about your morality piece when you come on." Stephen Hawking says we have about 600 years left.
That works for me.
Stephen Hawking issues dire warning: we have less than 600 years until Earth becomes a sizzling fireball. Renowned physicist, man, I hope that when he says stuff like this is stuff that he really believes, and he's not just trying to, since he is the science
I would say he's the most brilliant scientific mind of our generation.
Yeah. And renowned physicist Stephen Hawking, I hope he's not doing it because he's just trying to scare people because of climate change, which I'm not saying that people don't need to be scared. I just hope that he, not that he's even right, but that he believes what he's saying.
Well, and again, as you and I, with the utmost effort, did not do any show prep for today. I mean, is he saying it's related to global warming? Is he saying that is it just the natural cycle of the Earth? Or
he says that if we don't leave Earth soon, overpopulation will increase energy consumption and pretty much kill us all. But Hawking has a plan. Before we get to that, when we extrapolate data like this, when we start making projections, I don't know that sometime that we know enough about evolution. We know enough about nature, about the universe,
right,
to make those kinds of predictions. Because if you just look at this trajectory, you go, okay, well, it's obvious that we only have a few hundred years left before. But I don't think that's the way things work. I think that there's a lot of stress on the human organism right now, all around the planet, and that leads to changes that we can't even imagine. Little alterations in our DNA, and so yes, if you were just to project everything forward, then he's right. We got to figure something out in the next couple hundred years, or we're gonna be hanging off the planet trying to figure things out. But I have a feeling that something happens to a species before that happens to allow it to correct and
look, yeah, but again, and
but what the hell do I know? I'm a college dropout.
Well, and again, what did the dinosaurs do, right, to deserve a meteor coming and hitting the Earth and killing all of them?
They got too big.
You think they got too big, and that's what happened?
Well, listen, had they not gotten to the size, look at it this way: every dinosaur that was under 50 pounds or under a certain height, somewhere in that range, made it through and was able to evolve into something else.
Interesting.
But those big fat MFers, they just wouldn't stop. They wouldn't stop. And millions of years ago, the planet was like, "Hey, listen, you guys better slow down, or because you're just going to get too big, and then everything else is living off your poop." And that's just I'm trying to draw a metaphor, give some parallels to modern day.
But this is my whole thing, because again, being as politically involved as I am, I'm obviously following the climate change debate quite closely, and based on, again, a study that I've read, they've said that even if we were to stop all industrial production, right, all production of carbon monoxide or carbon dioxide, I always forget which one it is, but that it wouldn't stop what's happening right now. It wouldn't stop global warming or climate change, whatever you want to call it, that we are basically past the point of no return to where we could actually correct what we have allegedly been doing for centuries.
Yeah, I've read both things. I've read that, and I've also read that we can slow down if we were to back off. But I just don't think that's the way we are. I think it is going to take a calamity. There'll be a piece of Greenland or something that breaks off, and next thing you know, some some calamity happens that just makes everybody go, "Ooh, okay."
Well, and Twitter was all worked up yesterday.
Get out of here.
And now I forgot the point I was going to make, but the truth of the matter is that it's about the Paris Accord, right? Okay. So the Paris climate agreement, and how now the United States is officially the only country that has not signed on to this Paris climate agreement. But the truth of the matter is that these other countries, I would say the majority of them, will never be policed, or they will, and that's part of the problem, is that you're essentially establishing a governing body that's going to regulate your environmental policies, and that's the overall reason why Republicans are so much against this, and that the United States really is the only one that hasn't signed on to. Listen,
even scientists said that the Paris Accord was not going to solve anything. But what it was to me was a step in the right direction, because this would be the first time that the world came together, except for two countries at the time, world came together to go, okay, let's all move forward in unison on this. And then all of a sudden we pull out. But I also think it was very fascinating what happened afterwards, because then you had it go to the local level, and you had states and cities all around this country say, we stand with you. We stand with the Paris Accord. We will do what we can out of the local level to meet whatever requirements we can meet. And so this isn't over, and I understand the politics of it too, by the way.
Yep.
And this is what sucks, and this is why we can't have a legitimate discussion about it, because of the politics that come in so quickly, and the billions upon billions of dollars in the energy sector that people aren't going to give up, very easily. So Hawking's plan has a plan. You ready?
Of course he does.
Speaking at the Tencent the We Summit in Beijing, Hawking appealed to investors to back his plan to travel to Alpha Centauri. Yes! Yes! It's about time! Oh, it's going to happen. The Last Starfighter is happening.
That's right.
It's happening.
Oh, my God. I love that movie.
Oh, one of my all-time favorites.
That's one I need to own.
Me too.
And it's hard to find.
Is it? At around 4 light years away, it's the closest star system to our sun. The venture is called Breakthrough Starshot and would use a tiny spacecraft that travels at the speed of light. Well, that right there is not true. I mean, I don't need to bring physics into the discussion this time of morning, but there is and will never be a spacecraft that travels at the speed of light.
I don't think in our lifetime.
No, it's well, as far as we know, it goes against the laws of the universe that you cannot go the speed of light. Once you do the math on that, and realize it takes all the energy in the universe to make matter to get matter at the speed of light, and it ain't happening. So you can get near the speed of light. You can shoot light at the speed of light, but you're not sending a spacecraft at the speed of light. Such a system could reach Mars in less than an hour. Okay, they got to be talking about wormholes or something like that now, because there's no way to such a system could reach Mars in less than an hour, or reach Pluto in days, pass Voyager in under a week, and reach Alpha Centauri in just over 20 years. Maybe if all goes well, sometimes a little after the middle of the century, we'll have our first picture of another planet that may be life bearing orbiting the nearest star. So that's his answer, is we just got to leave the planet. There's no slowing this thing down. We got to figure out a way to get off this planet.
I do think technologically we're on the cusp. I mean, obviously, right now we're in an incredible snowball of technology, where it's just the technology is accelerating faster than we can keep up with, and I think we are on the cusp when it comes to space travel. Whoa, what are you doing over there?
I don't know.
I think we're on the cusp of figuring out a new form of travel energy. I don't even know what to call it. But basically where we can get away from the currently fuel-propelled system into something that's not only faster but also more fuel efficient, if any fuel is used at all.
It was an exciting story over the summer. We transport? No, what's the Star Trek term?
Beam?
Yeah, beamed basically a photon from the Earth to a satellite, and instantaneously. I guess this would be in the quantum physics realm. So this is the beginning of teleportation. This is the beginning of teleportation.
And look, I mean, we're watching what's happening now. What all the crazy things Elon Musk is doing. With the self-landing rockets and the Hyperloop and all that kind of stuff. I think if anybody's going to come up with that type of technology, it's probably going to be him, first of all. Second of all, I think it could possibly be within our lifetime, towards the latter end, but I think it could be within our lifetime.
Welcome to this show. This is the soft launch. We're getting used to the technology, building some chemistry along the way, and we'll have our hard launch on Friday morning at 7 o'clock, unveiling the show name and logo and how you can reach us, throughout the universe. And we'll see what we can turn this into. But let me say this about
quantum entanglement. Cords Owen says
quantum entanglement.
Yeah, and then he shared. Do you remember the sunscreen ad from RoboCop? It's like sunblock 5000.
Yeah. I do.
He just put it there in the comments section, but it's funny.
Here's what I think, Jonny Torres. Somebody like Stephen Hawking says we have 600 years to figure it out, get off the planet, or when religious people are going, we're living in end times. I see what they see, and I think there is probably a civilization. Humanity is going to have to take another one on the chin here in the next couple hundred years. I do think we're headed to, but I don't think it's going to be the end of everything. Even if some of these things come to pass. You got to remember, man, we are approaching an overpopulation situation sometime soon. We're over 7 billion now on the planet. Soon we'll be at 10 billion, then 15 billion. And there is going to be issues, energy issues, water issues. And it may suck for a while. But I look at it like the dinosaurs didn't just go from, this to 50-ton animals.
Sure.
Overnight, there were growth periods and there were non-growth periods, and we are in a hyper growth period. There's a lot of cool things that come along with it, and there's a lot of sucky things that are going to come along with it. It's kind of like having a kid.
We'll adapt, and the truth of the matter is that even as it comes to the point of climate change or global warming or whatever you want to call it, I think we are already adapting, right? We're seeing the leaps in technology that's going to make us less dependent on fossil fuels, where obviously, again, Elon Musk, we're seeing, obviously all the advancement he's made in terms of solar energy. We're seeing the advancement in wind farms, and without making it political in terms of subsidies and all this stuff, but we do see a lot of progression in the cost and the technology when it comes to just solar power in general.
But my point is, none of that's going to matter. There will be we'll get to 10 billion, or it's going to be 12 or 15 or 7, somewhere along the lines. Shit's going to go down.
Sure.
And next thing you know, humanity is going to be back down to somewhere around 3 billion, 2 billion, 1 billion, and starting over again. But this is something that we've seen over and over again over thousands and thousands of years. And as civilizations try to take hold and then crumble and come back up and crumble, and and this also goes to the times we live when people say the world is going to hell in a handbasket. We're going to have Tim Bryce coming up in 30 minutes, freelance writer, get his stuff from the Huffington Post and elsewhere. And he's going to talk about the decline of morality. And a lot of people feel like there's that.
Well, and a quick shout out to those watching, just a quick reminder to help us out in getting the word out about the show. And although we are moving, not platforms, but we are moving in terms of where the show will be broadcast from. We'll have different pages and accounts and stuff as we launch the official name of the show. We do appreciate you getting the word out by hitting that share button.
And do you still feel the name? Do you still feel it? Like,
I love it.
We all settled on it on Monday.
I think it's unique. I think it makes a lot of sense, has a lot of depth to it, because you can kind of dissect it, and there's a lot of inferred meaning there from multiple angles. And again, I think it kind of fits also the uniqueness of what we're trying to do here, because I do think it's very unique.
Do we unveil the show logo before we go on the show to all of those who will be, following along?
You saying like the night before, or the show before?
Like an hour before.
An hour before.
Oh, just on the Facebook. Like, how about this? What if we put up something that launches on Friday morning at Fisher the Man, because that's where everybody's been going for this, Fisher the Man 123.
Sure. That
directs everybody to the new page.
Yep.
So why don't we do that on Friday morning?
And
have that, or do you think that's something that we
No, we promote it. We again say, hey, come and check out, name of the show Friday morning. We'll post the logo.
Maybe we post it then with the right after the show on Thursday. So it's like almost 24 hours to send people to the new Facebook page or YouTube channel.
And you're saying then start the show on the new pages and on Friday. Could do it that way. Yeah.
What were you thinking, that we would launch the new show at Fisher the Man 123 on Friday, then move everything over, then send all that stuff out over the weekend, move everything over on Monday?
I don't know why, but that just seemingly seems more natural to me, right? Because we start the week on a Monday. I think I don't want to lose people on a Friday, and then maybe they didn't tune in Friday, and so I don't know. at least to me, for some reason, I couldn't give you a specific reason why, but I think it makes more sense to launch the new show on the new accounts on Monday.
Do you think that humans will give dinosaurs a run for their money?
No. I think they were massive. I think they were incredibly large. I think
I'm talking about their reign, because I'm looking it up right now to see what the exact number was. But they reigned supreme for like 180 million years.
Yeah.
Depending on how you look at, when you want to call us humans, is it when we were stood upright or whatever? Was it just 200,000 years ago? Is it 2 million years ago? We're still in the infancy of whatever we're going to be.
Oh, absolutely.
So let's say we're only 200,000 years in.
Yep.
Screw it. Let's say we're 1 million years in. 1 million compared to the 180 million that the dinosaurs, reigned supreme. Are humans going to exist in whatever evolved way, because things can change over 180 million years.
Yeah.
180 million years from now on this planet.
I don't know. I don't think so.
Why not?
I think we are our own worst enemy. I think.
What if we're going through our teen years? What if when you're looking at the progression, the evolution of a sentient species?
Yeah.
That we have to go through some of these things, because we haven't been around a long time. So still in our DNA, still what drives us is to dominate our environment. Yeah. Like we're constantly in a state of things can go to shit at any time now. It wasn't that long ago that we were on the brink.
Here's actually maybe a better answer, and it's not a cop-out, but I think the better answer is I don't think we'll be in the same form that we are today. I think we'll evolve into something else.
We'll be gray and short with big eyes.
Yeah, exactly.
You ever heard that theory?
No.
That the grays are us.
Oh, right.
The grays are us.
And they've discovered time travel, right, and
from 100 million years in the future or whatever, and are coming back.
As a kid, man, I loved all the UFO alien stuff, and I still think that there's something else out there. I think I think it is impossible that we are the only self-aware living organisms in the entire universe. But
with that, one of the fascinating things that comes along with that is when we point our telescopes to the skies and we listen, we don't hear a thing. We don't hear any radio frequencies coming from, other star systems. And if civilizations or if sentient beings have been around for quite some time, there would be plenty of things bouncing off the stars.
See, I disagree.
Yeah?
I disagree because you are assuming that these other entities, these other species of life forms that are out there communicate the same way we do. And I think that in itself is highly unlikely. And so we are hoping, right, that they would communicate the same way we do through radio frequencies, through audio, and I think that if there is another species on another planet or in another universe, that they wouldn't communicate the same way. I just think the likelihood of even that, I think, is incredibly small. I think that so for us to say, oh, well, we don't hear anything when we're listening out into space, and so there must not be anything else out there, I think is incredibly shallow-minded, because it's almost like going to another country and just assuming that
they speak your language.
That's exactly right.
Well, do you think that you will have some answers, or we will have some intriguing answers in our lifetime? I'm 45, you're 35? 37?
Yeah.
Do you think before you've checked off this, you're out of here, that we will have discovered something interesting in the universe, in the realm of sentience?
I think we'll have discovered how to sustain, at the very least, our own life on another planet. I don't think we'll have discovered other life forms, but I do think we'll have figured out how to live on the moon or Mars or whatever the heck it is. But I do think we'll make that leap in our lifetime.
I have a feeling that we're going to our first contact or our first something is going to happen before you and I are done with this planet. Our time here.
Contrary to just about every sci-fi film out there, I welcome it. I think we need a little bit of a reality check, and I think not only that, I think the cultural ramifications of there being other life forms in the universe, I think would be incredibly jarring and
change everything.
and really could bring the planet together, because then we realize, okay, we are just a species. We are not a nationality. We're not a one race or one. I think maybe that is what our humanity needs.
And that goes back to what I was saying, and that kind of plays into what I was saying when it comes to Stephen Hawking saying that we've got 600 years to figure things out and get off this planet before we consume ourselves. If all of a sudden we get a signal from a distant galaxy and it's going beep, 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 it's a repeating signal, and there's no way that nature could do this. This is something trying to signal. Even if we can't contact them or send a signal back, or if we do, it'll take 20,000 years to get there. When that happens, things are going to change.
Oh, definitely.
It doesn't need to be all of a sudden, like the movies where we're sitting there watching TV one night and all of a sudden our TVs go, hello, humans. This is Zolar. Which I think is a prescription drug.
See, I would have gone with the Superman reference. And now I feel like a horrible person because I love Superman and I can't remember the damn guy's name.
See, that's why you make up stuff that doesn't exist, and then you don't get caught up, misrepresenting what does exist.
Yeah. Nothing but the light and fluffy topics on this show.
Yes, sir. That's something I keep going back and forth with. One thing I also realize that you and I need to do is definitely include a lot of interviews where we're getting people on Skype or however we're going to pull off this technology. And we're going to give that a test. Our first one is going to be Tim Bryce coming up at 8:30 this morning.
Yeah.
He's finishing up his latest piece. I don't know what his latest piece is on, but
that's part of the reason we're going to have him on the show.
Yeah, we're going to talk to him about a piece that he did last week that you could find on the Huffington Post, The Cause for Morality Decline, because there's a lot of people, especially those on that consider themselves conservatives, which Tim Bryce does, that there is a decline in morality in the West and in America. So we'll talk about that coming up here in just a little bit. I like that Twitter is ditching the 140 characters, although I want to thank Twitter for, I think, for an entire generation, for an entire group of people, all of us that have been on Twitter since, near the beginning, Twitter has helped us edit our thoughts. I want to go on a rant. Well, you got 15 words. Go.
I think there's a lot to that, and I think they're going to realize this is not a good idea. I actually hate this idea.
Have you been following anybody that's already been given the 280 characters?
No.
I have, man. It is nothing. See, look at the screen right here.
Yeah.
Okay? That's 140.
So they're
140.
Okay.
280. It's still, I think 280 was probably where they should have went in the beginning anyway. But I do like that they started with 140 because it kind of trained everybody to be concise, to appreciate some brevity.
And again, in full disclosure, while I voted for our president, the one thing I wish they would do is shut down his account.
That's what we need, to give him more characters.
Exactly.
Do you think they're doing it on purpose?
The last thing we need is to give him more. Yeah.
You think Twitter is doing it just because they want to see if we give Donald Trump more rope?
Well, it's not even just a more rope thing. I can almost assure you that Trump's activity on Twitter has likely contributed to an increase in signups. I think people have probably gone back to Twitter or have joined Twitter because of the president's continued engagement on the platform.
But if I remember, I haven't looked at the numbers recently, and I could be wrong because of Trump, but I don't think Twitter, as far as users, they're anywhere near Facebook and Instagram, though, right?
No, it used to be. Facebook and then Twitter and then kind of everybody else. But Twitter's had a lot of issues with fake profiles, and then they've also had a problem in retaining
online bullying and
retaining simply retaining the people that are using the platform. And so they're repositioning themselves. And a guy that I listen to, Gary Vaynerchuk, pointed this out recently, and I hadn't noticed. But if you go into the App Store, they're no longer positioning themselves as a social media platform. They're now positioning themselves as a news and information platform, which
Twitter?
Which I think actually makes a hell of a lot of sense. Because there are people, I know, my best friend is one of them, and because he works for the government, he doesn't engage on the account, but he does have an account and he watches what's coming across the platform. And I think there probably are a lot of people like that who sign up, they don't tweet, they don't engage, but they do follow the people that they want to follow. And I myself, like if I want to get caught up on what's happening in the world, I have not only my full stream of everybody that I follow, but I also have a list that I've created of news platforms, and I can get caught up on the news of the day at a global level in just a few minutes just by scrolling through the platform. And so I think that's a very smart move on their part.
Yeah. That's what I use it for the most part, is I follow all kinds of news organizations, mainstream, non-mainstream.
Yeah.
And it gives me a sense of kind of the trends of the day as I'm scrolling through Twitter. But starting now, Twitter is raising the character limit for all users in most languages, not including Japanese, Korean, or Chinese, to 280 characters. That means you'll be able to send tweets that are precisely the length of this paragraph.
Well, and isn't, I mean, aren't the Asian languages just naturally, don't they need more characters?
Don't
or maybe
you?
I don't know. I'm completely...
Again, might as well talk to me about Zolar's, home language.
Well, and to a point that you made, I think Twitter's downfall also, I don't think it'll ever go away. I think as a media platform, which is what they're now positioning themselves as, I don't think Twitter's going away anytime soon. But I do think that a big part of the downfall in activity has been their over-regulation of what people can and can't say on the platform. I think that what was enjoyable about Twitter, what was exciting about Twitter, was the fact that, I mean, that's society, right? That's
how unfettered,
it was completely unfiltered, and you could say whatever you wanted. You could, talk to whoever you wanted. And the fact that they now come and they shut down these accounts, and I'm not even going to get into, them shutting down more conservative accounts than liberal accounts, but the fact that they do go and they shut down people's accounts because of what they say, I think has also been part of the downfall. There's a lot of
pressure. There's been a lot of pressure over the past year or two on all of these platforms.
But I think if people don't want to hear something, again, it's just like in daily life. If you are saying something that offends me, again, barring us actually getting into some sort of fight, I have the option to sit there and continue to listen to you or to just walk away. They have the tools. You can mute people. You can block people. I don't see the need for shutting down people's accounts simply because a majority of users or a large number of users don't like what you have to say. And so when they do shut down guys...
What if you're harassing, though? You're somebody, you go, well, you block the person. All right, you blocked him. Well, they fired up another account, and they just keep coming after you. So it goes into the realm of harassing. Does Twitter and Facebook have a responsibility to do something then?
Yes, I think harassment is very different than shutting you down because a large number of people disagree with what you have to say. And again, it's not pretty, right? Especially in our current political environment where we do see an increase in the fringes, right? So we've got your nationalists, your Nazis, or neo-Nazis, whatever you want to call them. You've got the Antifa on the left, those guys. While you may not like what they have to say, I think that was part of the appeal and part of the draw for a lot of people, was that they could go on there and express themselves and vocalize whatever worldview they had without repercussions. Well, now Twitter has, their own policing system where, again, even someone who is a national political figure, like him or not, like Roger Stone, if enough people don't like what he has to say, they can file complaints with Twitter enough to get somebody's account shut down. I mean, it happened to Rose McGowan. After she came out against Harvey Weinstein.
Right.
And so it's also an imperfect policy, because here's a woman who came out who's basically started to chip away at this monster that's been living in the closet in Hollywood. And because people are very protective of their celebrities, they are very protective of the Hollywood culture, her Twitter account was shut down for a period of time. And that in itself was unacceptable, and they obviously reversed course on that. But I don't think anybody's account short of harassment, should be blocked from using the platform. I think that was part of its appeal.
Hold on. So you and I are getting ready. We're testing these shows this week through Fisher the Man 123.
Yeah.
Come Friday or Monday, we are going to switch that platform over to what the new show name's going to be, or we're going to switch all that stuff over. So we'll be doing this through that page, and all of a sudden we see trolls on in our feeds. We're trying to get comments, we're trying to interact with our new listeners and build a show.
Yep.
And there's trolls on there who are just jamming up the system.
Right.
Do you just allow that freedom of speech to play out, or do we ban people from that we're trying to disrupt what we're trying to do?
No, you block them.
Okay.
I mean, if we had, let's say, a no profanity policy, which for the time being we don't need one, right? Because
no shit.
Oh, good morning, by the way, to my friends Felix, Anna, and Kathleen.
Good morning.
Who just tuned in. But
you sons of bitches.
You ban them. They have these tools in place to where if you don't want to see that sort of thing on your feed, on your platform, on your broadcast, then you can stop those individuals from coming on there and doing that.
So my point, because we're protecting our brand and we're trying to get something accomplished, so Twitter might be trying to do the same thing. I can't fault them for trying to figure out a way to make their product more palatable, less hostile.
It's only hostile if the people you follow are hostile. I mean, again, I post about political stuff, so every once in a while I'm going to get people who disagree with what I have to say.
You're the problem.
Yeah, exactly. And there have been times where I've had a run of people come and start badgering me because they don't like what I had to say. But that's life, right? Like that is in its essence, that is the freedom of speech. The fact that I can say what I want to say, but that doesn't protect me from the repercussions of that. And I don't think that, I think the downfall of Twitter has been their policing and filtering and censorship.
There's another site that fired up over the summer, and I can't remember the name of it, but it was basically like Twitter, and it was like, come here, come one, come all, and we don't censor anything. You knock yourselves out. But I don't remember the name, and they haven't been in the news recently, so I don't know how well they're doing. But so Twitter has gone from 140 characters to 280 characters, and this is what they're saying. Twitter says that research quickly confirmed its three-part hypothesis. Number one, having 280 characters, it led to fewer people bumping up against the character limit. No shit.
Yeah, that was the point.
Number two, it boosted user engagement and satisfaction. Oh, I guess what they're saying is once we got to 280, you didn't see as many people using all 280, trying to figure out how to get it in. But again, I think that's the training of the 140. We're so used to typing in a certain way, formulating sentences in a certain way.
We are. And what's interesting is I remember I'm a big John Mayer fan. And I remember John Mayer was on Twitter for a long time and then realized that it was actually changing the way that he was writing songs because he was thinking in shorter phrasing. And so he realized that it started to affect him creatively. And so he actually left the platform, I think, for a number of years, about 2 or 3 years. Recently has come back. But I do. I think it teaches you to be more brief. I think it teaches you to be more concise in how you communicate. I will say the upside is going to be, some of these journalists or some of these people that go off on threads, as they call them, and they'll post 6, 7, 8 messages to get their point across because they can't get it into 140 characters.
The findings should not come as much of a surprise. With more characters to play with, users are more often able. By the way, it's also led to hashtag culture. Let's not forget about that.
That's right.
Able to say what they wanted without having to edit. The result is that people spend less time fiddling with wording. Who really enjoys the process of replacing words with short? I kind of like it. Because he goes, well, who really enjoys the process of replacing words with shorter sentiments or stripping them of their vowels? That's always been a fun part of the game. Part of is trying to get that in 140 characters. You know how many times that I get done with a tweet and I'm at zero, zero, and I smile like this was the perfect tweet. This was the perfect tweet.
And I'll tell you, I hate that. Right, I hate the removing of the vowels. Again, especially being a communicator like you and I are. And so I only did that in severe circumstances where I needed this word to fit in there, and so I would abbreviate other words. But I would say that probably has to be my biggest pet peeve, is the removal of the vowels from some of the words used.
That stuff bothered me in the very, very beginning because it feels like you're looking down at a 14-year-old's text,
Yep.
But then next thing you know, I'm 40-something years old and typing the same way. And I look at
your brain processes it. Like your brain automatically knows, right, what that word was intended to be. And it's so
it doesn't matter, really.
No, because you see this kind of stuff on Facebook, or you see it where all of a sudden, they remove all of the vowels from a phrase, but yet you're still able to read the sentence perfectly because your brain just replaces it, right? Like your brain just adjusts to whatever is in front of it.
Some of the people that annoy me the most are the what do they call them? Grammar Nazis.
Mm-hmm.
The people that feel so compelled to tell you that you used the wrong there, you used the wrong your.
It bothers me personally. Like I'll absolutely go in and fix my stuff.
Me too. I try not to.
No.
Because I know it's a personal thing. Like, it doesn't matter. It's just one letter. Don't go in there and correct it. You don't need to edit. You don't need to add another post underneath it with a little asterisk.
Oh, I do.
And this is what I'm telling myself. And then
even when I'm texting,
I can't take it. It's like some kind of an OCD thing.
I can't help it.
And it's like that for a lot of people. Are you eating?
Yeah, I am.
It's like that for a lot of people, and I try to fight the OCD. It's because it goes back to early childhood, and you had a mom or an aunt or a teacher or teachers that were all over you when you're messing things up, and so you have this anxiety of not getting, not messing up and having somebody correct you. But I look at it this way, Jonny Torres. If I get what you're saying, we're good.
Yeah.
But I'm also an undereducated Floridian. And I know you're giggling at that, but that is a variable. Like if you're somebody with a doctorate and you're highly educated and so on, I was a very average student, dropped out of college, and so I'm not stupid, but I am an undereducated Florida cracker. And if I'm going to hold people to a certain standard when it comes to communicating, I can't communicate with half the people I grew up with, and even family members, some family members.
Yeah.
And that's ridiculous to me. I also realize it's a very elitist thing to correct people on their grammar. Do you know what the person is trying to say? Yes, then shut the fuck up. By the way, we're probably not going to cuss that much during the show. I did have a thought. I had a thought, Johnny. Let's talk about it right now.
Okay.
All right, I want to throw this out at you. Then I want to message Tim Bryce to see if he's done with his piece, and he can come on with us.
If not, I think I picked the song that I want to sing.
Okay.
All right.
What the hell we were just talking about? I said I was going to.
You said you had a thought. You had.
What if you and I do this show, approach this show, kind of like a radio show?
Okay.
Keep
blasphemy. How dare we?
Keep the cussing out of it, so make it where if it were on the air, it would be palatable.
Okay.
And approach it a certain way, and then once we get our feet under us and we're feeling pretty good about what we're doing, go ahead and go and pitch it for a local radio any radio stations in Florida.
Right. I think it's one of those things where, yes, I agree. I think even casually, I'd probably. It feels weird, especially with this beautiful microphone that you've given us here. And the microphone you have in front of you, it feels like a radio show. People think that we're broadcasting a radio show, and it feels weird to cuss in sitting in front of this microphone. But as you and I have quickly learned doing this show, there may be times that require it, be it something passionate that we're talking about, or to give the appropriate context. But I think it's better to make those moments fewer and far between than it is to kind of make it a regular practice, because I think we're also going to alienate a lot of people. Again, good morning to Chris Brown and my buddy Joe Wicker. But I think we would alienate a lot of people, certainly, friends of mine that I know are going to be tuning in because they are of a more conservative mindset, and that's not the type of language that they typically surround themselves with. But you got to
remember, this is not about morality, which is what we'll be talking about here in a moment. This is about where you come from and being undereducated, and they're like, well, you can choose different words. Yeah. Well, you can go fuck yourself.
I guess we're starting that policy tomorrow.
Sorry.
Is that what we're doing?
I think that is the redneck in me. It's when you feel like you are underclass, when you feel like somebody is better than you, instead of just accepting that and trying to be better in that moment, more like them in that moment, you just own who you are. Go fuck you, motherfucker. All right, how do I Skype, man?
Are you just getting it out of your system at this point?
Yeah,
is that what
that's what I think I'm trying to do. All right. Okay, this is working.
I like the policy idea. I think we should absolutely institute that. Now, are we only going to get audio or are we going to get video?
I don't know. I don't know what we're going to be doing here. Tim Bryce. Hopefully he can hear us. Okay, so we are testing out some technology this morning, so hopefully the feed back to him is loud enough. Good morning, Tim. Hello, check test 1 2.
Whoa, hey.
Sorry about that.
Boop, beep. That's definitely Skype.
Yeah.
Are you there?
Oh,
we are here. There we go. How you doing, Tim Bryce?
Now,
Barely hear you guys. Let me play with my volume here.
yeah, get him, bring him down.
Bring him down. But here's the thing: is I think I'm going to have to turn us up. Can you back
or your laptop down? Because you're just feeding it out of your laptop, so just bring your laptop down.
But I'm also feeding in, and I have barely any levels going into my laptop because we've had to pull them down so much for Facebook Live. Is there a way to turn down stuff on your end so I can jack things up on this end?
Well, and ideally for Tim, I think we also need him on headphones because we're already getting echo.
Oh, I see what you're saying. You have that little earpiece microphone deal, Tim?
Hold on, I'm trying to up it on my end here.
Yeah, he's real hot.
Let's see, volume. There we go.
That's not bad right there.
Speakers. Let's go. Automatically.
That's good right there, Fisher.
No, I don't want you to. Well, that's high enough.
Check.
No, you guys. I don't know how well you hear me at all, but I'm going. I hear from you like check.
But it's very light.
No, he was just saying that. He was just saying check. I mean, if we're hearing ourselves through your feed.
Go back into the mixer here and see what I can do here.
Yeah, Johnny.
Headphones? It would be the best solution here.
What I think it is
that is
like I said.
Up.
All my inputs are very, very low here, which is that's what he's getting.
Right. I can bring you down. I can bring you down here so you can turn it up over there.
That's what I was thinking.
All right, hang on.
Bring me way down.
The beauty of live, unfiltered broadcasting.
That's fine. That's why we're getting this stuff out of the way. Hey, I appreciate you helping us out with this, Tim. All right, so we're way down over there.
Yeah, go ahead and
turn
it up.
I'm going to turn it up. Check. Test 1 2. Tim
Wow,
Bryce.
This
Tim.
is nuts.
What's nuts?
Here, I'm going to physically turn up the.
You still got a little more.
Even my speakers.
Well, I guess I got more room to work with.
No, not
we
anymore.
peak now.
Yeah.
All right, how do we sound now, Tim? I wonder what our comments on Facebook Live now are.
No, everybody's just listening. Thank you to everybody for listening. While we got this figured out.
We forgot to turn down the air.
I was wondering why I was getting a little warm in here.
Gosh.
I thought I did this morning. I thought I did as soon as I walked in the room.
Maybe, but it was at 85.
Oh, jeez. You know what it is? I think it's programmed.
Hang up. No. Audio settings. Let's go into audio.
Go ahead and I'm bringing us down again. I'm bringing us.
Hold
on, not there.
Let's go into that.
How about here? I'm going to bring us down here. Let's see. All right, so you got a little bit more room there, Fisher, if you want to.
Turn us up?
Yeah.
All right. Check. Test 1 2 1 2.
Yeah, I'm getting again very, very weak. I don't know how well do you hear me?
You sound fine. You sound fine on our end, right?
If you get closer to the mic, Chris, I can hear you better.
Check. Test 1 2.
That's much better. Much better.
So maybe Skype isn't going to be the way for us to go. We're going to have to figure out a way to run everything through.
Now you're sounding hot though. Now both of us are overmodulating. I mean, we're not in terms of volume, just in terms of quality. Both of us are.
All right. Well, no. This is one of the reasons why we're doing this, and I appreciate you guys sticking around. Hanging in there with us because we want to figure out the best way to get people on. If Skype's not the way to do it, then we have to run something through your end over there, possibly, Johnny. Instead of it running from my part of the setup.
Yep. Yeah, that may be the solution here.
All right, well, Tim Bryce, let's talk a little bit about morality here in America. We were just on the subject of my foul mouth. We were talking about how, what kind of language and censorship should be, present here on this new show. And, I dropped a couple of F-bombs, and I said, listen, this is not about, and then Jonny Torres was talking about his more conservative friends that wouldn't appreciate stuff like that listening to the show. And I go, well, tell your conservative friends it's not about morality. It's about ignorance. It's about being raised in Florida and being undereducated and also being partly redneck and knowing that if I'm dropping an F-bomb in the wrong place, that it is going to have an impact.
Yeah, and, our vernacular has changed considerably over the years. What I started my writings on is I found the Gallup poll, and every year in May they come on up with an analysis of what is the moral values of the country, and it has been shifting to very liberal positions. As a small example, many years ago, if you were to declare bankruptcy, that was considered terrible. If you were to have a divorce, that was considered a red badge, of courage or whatever. But it just was very much frowned upon, little things like that. Now we take all of this type of stuff for granted. It has changed noticeably just in the last 100 years. And it changes, I think, even since the last 10 years, things are changing. But the question is, why is it changing? Why is it? And then this is what I wrote about not that long ago, where I was talking about, the various causes for the decline in morality, and one of which is our technology addiction. I quoted the study by Dr. Nicholas Carderas, who studied, the human mind and said, look, the frontal brain function in the cortex, reacts to technology much like how it does to cocaine. So there is some technology addiction, and we have other things going on too. We have now got a major drug addiction. In the 50 years, if you think about it, how the drugs have gone, the drugs that I saw when I was in college is a lot different than what the kids are doing these days.
And now it's not even about the kids. Tim, back in your day, the kids, experimented late high school into college, and then they buckled down and went into the. Now you have more and more Americans addicted in their 30s, 40s, 50s to painkillers and anti-anxiety medicines, Xanax, and so on.
And the marijuana too is a lot.
Watch it, Tim. Watch it.
I beg pardon?
I said, watch it, buddy. Now you're encroaching on my territory.
Well, it's 7 times more potent than what it was back in the 1960s.
Do me a favor, on your side, can you tilt your camera down a little bit so we're talking to more than just your forehead? Or is it?
It's probably been moving here.
There we go.
Do the best I can. I'm
Yeah,
dancing as fast as I can.
Yeah, Tim, you actually don't even need to lean in. You can bring me down a little bit too, Fisher. But Tim, you don't need to lean in. We can hear you just fine.
Well, I know there's a way to do that here, but it just I'm doing out of necessity, and just the way I've got that all strapped in there right now.
No, that's good. We can that's an improvement right there.
Tim Bryce wrote a piece last week. You can find it on the Huffington Post about the morality and the decline of it in America. Started off with a conversation talking about how at one point, shame. I think you were going back to the art of shaming. Where you shamed somebody who was contemplating getting a divorce. You shamed somebody who got pregnant out of wedlock. You shamed people into conforming to the community standards. And you're right, that is definitely on a decline because people are now connected to the world. And more than just the technology addiction, I think it is that technology's allowed people to connect with other people who think like them, who are like them, who are going through the same things as them, and so they don't have to feel the shame. That the shame strategy.
Well, you also have Hollywood. Don't forget, Hollywood is saying that hey, this is okay now, this is all right. It's perfectly acceptable. Let's turn the other cheek now. So you have that a part of it, and the other variable I had in there was about parental abdication. Parents now. It used to be you'd have one parent stay home. And watch the kids, especially they were there and when the kids came home from school. At least it was in my day. Now we have both parents working. The socioeconomic conditions have changed. Both parents have to work. They both come home. They're both exhausted. hey, give that kid that PlayStation, keep him out of our hair, or let's drop him off at the ball fields and let the coaches worry about him, or something like that. They're abdicating control of it, in a large part because they're just burned out.
Yeah.
Well, Tim, this is Johnny, and you were saying that, of course, things like bankruptcy and divorce used to be a sign of morality, and so to kind of play devil's advocate in this situation here is that when you say that there is a moral decline, it's very easy to obviously point at things such as the LGBT lifestyle and that sort of thing, but by whose standard are we measuring this, right? Because again, if at one time alcohol, divorce, bankruptcy, that sort of thing were considered a part of the moral decline, really, what's our baseline, right? What standard are we judging that by?
Well, again, I started all of this research based on what Gallup does. And, it's a little known study that Gallup does every year about May. And they show what is this trends. What do people believe? What is their perceptions of morality? And it's going down, 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 down. They also notice a shift in liberal values, people going away from things like abortion is okay, considered by today's standards. Premarital sex is now considered okay by today's standards. So they noted all of these things. So that's what I started this on. The thing that was interesting, I wrote a book on this, 2-3 years ago, called Stand Up for Morality. What I find interesting, in this country, nobody wants to talk about it. Now, the only two places I could see it at that time, and this will crack you up, number one was the Israeli army. The Israeli army, the Israelis, they wanted their soldiers to know what to do, what is the correct thing to do when out in the field. The other one was the New Zealand Police Department. They wanted to know what is correct to go on out there. But aside from that, I couldn't find anybody in this country who wants to talk about it. And when you have like a decline in church attendance, church membership, fewer people are going to church. Younger people are not going to church anymore like that. And for every church that opens, 4 close. So who is teaching the morality? Who is teaching this stuff? No, they're learning it by emulation, by their friends, what they see on television, by their entertainment, by their technology.
I don't know that they're learning it there. I see what you're saying.
Where else are they getting it from?
Well, I also think, like I said, it has more to do with a lot of that stuff was always there, but a lot of people never felt like they, when they were being shamed by their community, there was nobody to reach out to connect with. So that they could, somebody goes, hey, listen, it's okay. You're not a bad person.
They were just shunned.
Yeah, you were just, you were trapped. But now you can connect with somebody on the other side of the world that is going through the same thing that you're going through, and go, hey, listen, you don't have to feel shame about what you're going through. Yes, if you had it to do over again, mate, would you have chose a couple of a different path? Possibly. But here's where you are now. I'm not going to judge you and look down on you, and I'm going to accept you as a human being. Now, Tim, so are you saying that we should, when you're talking about morality, we should be shaming people? If you get married, then you have to stay there until death. If you get pregnant before you are married, then we should shame you and make you feel like a little fucking piece of shit?
I didn't catch all of that, Chris, but, I think I know where you're going with it. But the problem is, let's say you get into the workforce too. And you see a guy, screwing over a customer. Oh, God, there's a terrible word. And lying to him, cheating the customer like that. And if that is considered acceptable behavior, then that person will emulate it. Say, hey, well, if that's how it's done, fine, I'm going to do it too.
Right. Which we do. We do see in business, all the time. You see people hanging their hat on something that somebody famous did or somebody who's successful did.
We established some dangerous precedents out there. And again, in my day, and when we started our company back in 1971, it was very important for us to have a code of conduct out there, but it was never written down. It was always assumed. We delivered on our promises. We always told the truth. We always tried to do what is fair for the customer, the employee, and the vendor. We always went by the thing, the only good business relationship is when both parties prosper. But, everybody in our company knew this, but they don't teach that anymore. You might have some code of conducts written up in businesses like that, but people know that's a joke. If, the top dog out there is, going out there lying and cheating to people, hey, guess what the underlings are going to do?
You get a culture of it. And
that's right.
Yeah.
But here again, I'm back to the point. Let's take this nut job that we just had shooting up a Texas church out there like that, and I don't know all of the details. None of us know the details on this guy. He's got evidently a history of mental things. What's wrong with talking about morality in schools when they bring the kids on up, that we talk about it? And I'm not talking about religious services at all. I'm saying, let's say, how about the golden rule of things, which all religions embrace, by the way, doing to others as you'd have others do unto you. What's wrong with teaching common courtesy? Some very basic things. We've gotten away from all of this, and they're not learning it at home. And if you send the kid to the ball field or to school, that's not where they're supposed to learn that at.
I got into it with my mom a couple years ago. We were with my niece, and she was probably about 7 at the time, and she was talking about some quandary at school, and I wish I remembered the specifics of it. But it was about following the rules, and I go, well, and my mom said something to the effect, well, we follow the rules, make sure you follow the rules. And I got very angry very quickly. I was like, no, because whatever she was setting up for us was unfair. And I was like, no, you tell them this, and this. I don't care if you're breaking the rules or not. My mom, the grandmother of my niece, is going, no, we follow rules in this family. And I think that's something that, because I was raised that way, and I was somebody who always followed the rules. But then once I got into the media, and I started to deal with high-powered people, CEOs, athletes, celebrities, politicians, I saw nobody following the rules. The people that got to the top, they brag about all the rules they bend and break and circumvent.
Oh, that's true. And we have a culture over here where we reward rugged individualism versus teamwork as well. And consequently, we have a culture where we kick and dig to get to the top of everything. It's not the same overseas. You go to places like Japan, as an example, teamwork is really cherished over there. I've been very fortunate to be participating in a couple of different teams. Once when I was a youngster in Little League, had a great baseball team. We went unscored upon. It was just incredible.
Wow.
Undefeated, I mean. And the teamwork was good. Then in high school, I went through championships over there. And what I learned out of this is the need to cooperate, to work together towards common objectives like that. And I'm not sure that we really teach those types of lessons anymore.
All right, so last question then concerning your piece on the decline of morality in America. So do you see this changing? Do you see it ever getting back to a place where we have the same values now like we did in, say, the 1950s? Is there a new normal?
But we've got to be able to talk about it. And my point is, nobody talks about it. Look, I'm a Freemason. And the Masons are supposed to be, we're not a religious organization or anything like that, but we should be considered like the merchants of morality. We want to say what is right, what is the proper thing to do and so on. But even the Masons aren't talking about these things. And that really surprises me. And for that point of view, it's simply just another social club.
Well, Tim Price, thank you so much for coming on my new show here, and hopefully we'll have you back.
Hey, much success with it, Chris. You know me, I'm a big fan. So, anytime you need me or whatever, just give me a call.
Thank you very much, Tim Price, freelance journalist, and you can find a lot of his stuff at Huffington Post and elsewhere.
I've also
keep the faith, my brother. Keep the faith.
Thank you, sir.
I've also posted a link to all of Tim's work on the Huffington Post in our comment section.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So there we go. That was our first attempt at. We'll have to watch that back and see how it came off there.
No, I think once we got the audio issue figured out, I think it was fantastic. Tim's fantastic. And again, it's interesting because, like you said, I mean, is it one of these things then that can you actually turn this around, or is it pretty much the new normal? Is it life as we know it going forward?
And for those people that feel like morality is in decline and you're nervous about it, I say just stick by your guns. Stick to who you are. And in those moments where there's a fork in the road, a decision being made in front of you, you can be that positive force. Be the, if you're somebody who has a lot of principles and no matter, and does not waver, will stick by them.
Yep.
But don't be a dick. I'm being serious. Because the thing is, that old school shaming, ostracizing is very important for, those of you that were raised in the same religion I was.
Yep.
That was a driving force early on. Think of the very first stories. Being kicked out of the Garden of Eden. You're on your own. And that goes back to a time we're coming out of people who are very tribal,
Yep.
Desert wanderers, herders, so on and so forth. And you as a human, we talk about lone wolves, and we've always had we've grown up with movies where the cowboys can go off and just be by themselves and, take down everybody and live ruggedly, like you were saying. Mm-hmm. But the fact of the matter is, we're humans, we're very social animals, and we do much better in teams.
That's right.
We didn't evolve the way we evolved because individually we were so awesome at dragging down prey. No, we, like wolves, figured we were very, very intelligent, very clever, and figured out a lot of different ways to get food in our bellies.
Well, and the dangerous part about all of this is that, what point do you draw the line, right? And so while it's easy to point to some of these things and be like, well, we should be okay with this, or that, we're getting to the point now where kind of like what we're seeing, again, with these mass shootings, I think we see it in other elements of things that happen in our culture where Ashley Judd, for instance, went out there and she's like, oh, I had a harassment, or I was abused at one time by Harvey Weinstein, but I love him, and we love him, and we hope that he gets better, and we're going to find him
really?
help. And look up
Ashley Judd.
Ashley Judd, Harvey Weinstein, was an interview that she gave on TV. And so there are people now, there are organizations out there and individuals who also try to justify or have a severely passive approach even to pedophilia. These guys, they just need help, and, poor them, that, and this and that, while almost completely ignoring the victims in the situation and trying to pass it off as something that maybe that they're just suffering, they're, poor Harvey, he's a sex addict, and it's not his fault.
Okay. Yeah. I'm not going down that path. I mean, listen, if people are afflicted with certain things, that go way, way back. And yes, I feel bad let's say, go back to pedophilia. If you're somebody, if somebody can only be attracted to prepubescent children. But the difference is once you cross that line, once you act like, say that's you in your head, well, I hope you can get the help, and you're talking to somebody every single week and whatever. But if you cross that line, if you then justify that, no, this is not a sickness, but this is the way things are supposed to be, and you start to prey on children, well, then that's when we have to stop feeling sorry. I can't feel sorry for you because you're continuing whatever happened to you, however you got here, You're continuing that cycle now. So if you're not going to break that cycle, and I'm sorry that, you carry those kinds of demons with you, but if you're not going to break that cycle, then we as a society will break that cycle. Now, once we get them removed from society and in a cell or an institution, wherever we're putting them, there can be people who can feel sorry for that individual that are trying to help them and work with them and so on and so forth, but they got to be removed from society.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I don't expect everybody to have empathy for people who have a proclivity to prey on other human beings. So that can be for the experts, the professionals.
Well, and going back to, again, the overall topic here with Tim, which was the decline in morality in our society. I mean, Felix, my buddy Felix, makes a great point. He goes, all you got to do is look at the movies, books, plays, and that sort of thing happening in our entertainment culture. I mean, even a network, right, that was at one point called ABC Family, and it's now called Freeform. But now even Disney is creating programming where they're introducing more controversial elements of what we could say the morality of our culture into what they're doing. So now they have a preteen TV program where one of the boys is gay. And again, nothing wrong with that, but I don't think that's the place of a TV show to introduce that element of our culture to preteens. I think that's something that,
Really?
I think that's the job of the parent. I think that's the job of the...
I don't, because the parent, listen, okay, it is as well, but they're not introducing something that's amoral. They're not talking about drugs. They're talking about a human being who's trying to live their life without having other people judge the shit out of them based on Bronze Age mythology.
Yeah, but again, at a preteen age, I think kids. I mean, we see it even through the college age. They're still discovering who they are. They're still discovering their personalities. They're still discovering their likes, their dislikes. But
you're acting like this is a choice. A kid's not going to watch a preteen show on Nickelodeon or ABC Family, see a gay kid, and then go, well, that I'm going to give that a try. If the kid is going to already be gay and then see that gay kid and go, oh, thank God there's somebody else out there like me that I can relate to. Not that I have to sit here and hide in my shell until I fucking kill myself at 17, 18, 19 years old, because I think nobody around me relates.
Look, while
that I'm amoral because I feel this way.
No, I definitely believe that you are born with those inclinations, right? With those desires naturally, right? But there is a segment of that population that has also chosen that lifestyle. I for a fact, know of multiple people that are in my life, to varying degrees.
That are heterosexual but chose to live a gay lifestyle.
They have fluctuated between homosexual and heterosexual lifestyles, yes.
Listen, we're going to find out, too, that sexuality is a lot more complicated than we think it is when we're talking about people who are, you're either this or you're that. I think, again, when it comes, there's a spectrum. When it comes to bonding, I think, we got to remember that we're mammals. And it gets, I just think that things are going to be a lot more, we're going to find out things are a lot more complicated than they actually are. And so, I do not have a problem with, I don't think that when we're having the morality discussion, that you bring in the LGBTQ community and the morality discussion. But for those people who are raised with religion, then that it is about morality. It's not about you can't be that way because God would never make somebody that way. And so that's where I am glad there's technology. I'm glad there's Facebook, where somebody who in their community is being ostracized because of who they are, they can reach out and find millions around the world just like them.
And again, I think at the appropriate age, I think you're absolutely right. I think we're fortunate that we do have this information at our disposal, that we do have these outlets at our disposal, for people that are interested in understanding more of the world around us, because there are things that I would say my parents, not by design, but I think that they didn't address, or they were their perceptions or assumptions or stereotypes or prejudices, whatever you want to call it, that they had, and that then I either learned about, educated myself about, or adjusted my own worldview based on, again, things that I saw in the media, or certainly later on online, and helped me get a better understanding of those things.
Facebook remembers nude images to combat revenge porn. It will store a fingerprint of images to prevent any copies of them being shared by disgruntled ex-lovers. The trials in Australia, where studies suggest 1 in 5 women, 20% of women, age 18 to 45, may have had image-based abuse. But one expert says there will be problems outside Facebook and related sites such as WhatsApp and Instagram. Facebook said it looks forward to getting feedback and learning from the trial. Revenge porn is growing. It's an issue. And then, of course, the first comment that comes out of that is, well, don't shoot anything sexy. Don't shoot any porn. And you don't have to worry about revenge porn. But... people get together, and for some reason they like to take pictures of each other naked.
Well, and it's of course becoming a huge problem the younger the demographic, because kids are now having this technology in their hands at a much younger age, and they don't understand the long-term consequences of doing these sort of things. It used to be phone calls, right? You'd be on the phone and you'd say things to each other and this and that. And then it evolved into pictures, where you could actually just physically hand someone pictures. And now the ability to send these over the internet, and they're stored in these devices. And regardless of what you may think, you have deleted something off of your phone, and I can assure you that anything that you think you have deleted is still on your phone.
So Facebook is testing a system that allows users to message themselves their nude photos in an effort to combat so-called revenge. I don't know. This doesn't seem safe.
And this is really the part of the story where a lot of people are taking issue with it.
Yeah, put all your nude photos on Facebook. Send them to yourself. We won't look, but we will make sure that they never end up on the internet. Come on, Facebook. No way.
Especially in the hacking culture that we have now, where it just seems like every other week some major corporation is getting hacked.
Yeah. No on that.
That's just a recipe for disaster.
No on that one. Well, thank you so much for tuning in to this test show number 4. Tomorrow will be test show number 4. There was a part of me that, because I was thinking about how I already didn't get to bed till after midnight.
Yeah. Tomorrow's going to be brutal.
Then I got Park and Rec tonight from 8 until midnight. Oh, shoot. Let's do you said you want to do a karaoke song.
Let's do it. You know what? So being that summer is fleeting, it's already.
I don't need a backstory.
Technically, you don't want the lounge singer backstory.
So I've been sitting here contemplating what I should sing for you guys all night long. Summer is in the rear view mirror, and fall is slipping away fast. What do you got for us?
I don't know it by heart, but that's obviously part of that's part of the point of karaoke here. So let's do Summer Wind. You got Summer Wind?
Summer Wind.
I think that's a good morning song.
Michael Bublé or Frank Sinatra?
Sinatra. Get out of here with Bublé. Bublé's all right. I mean,
how are the levels?
But it's not even. That's good. I can hear it.
Okay.
You could probably pump it up just a little bit. Don't forget your masters down too on the summer. Oh no, I'm a little early. Here we go. The summer wind came blowing in from across the sea.
I don't sing it too good because they'll kick us off the internet.
It lingered there to touch your hair and walk with me. All summer long we sang a song, and then we strolled that golden sand. Two sweethearts and the summer wind. I'm going into a little bit of my Frank impersonation. Like painted kites,
nice.
The day and nights they went flying by. The world was new beneath the blue umbrella sky. Then softer than a piper man. No idea what that means. One day it called to you. I lost you to the summer wind. The autumn wind and the winter winds, they have come and gone. And still the days, those lonely days, they go on and on. And guess who sighs his lullabies through the nights that never end? My fickle friend Fisher, the summer wind.
I was looking up who Piper Man is. It's like paying the Pied Piper. That's the Piper Mine.
Summer wind, warm summer wind.
Well, I think you got too close. I think we're going to be kicked off Facebook for that one. I want to go back in and see if we're still there.
I would be lying if I didn't say that was fun.
Great job, man. Great. Maybe that's the way we end every show.
And
you pick a Frank classic.
If you want more of that, Park and Rec tonight. I'll come out for a little while.
You don't have to listen. I know it's not easy, getting up at dark 30 in the morning and then coming here and doing the show. But
see, what happens is I go home. I was home around like 8:30 last night, and then I sat on my phone for like 2 hours.
Okay, well, if you're going to do that, then come out to Park and Rec. Thank you so much for being a part of this today. We've got one more test show tomorrow, and then we'll go live on the come Friday with the new show and figure it out from there. Other than that, share. Let people know that we are doing this, and we really appreciate it. Anything from you, Jonny Torres?
Nah, man.
All right.
Goodbye, everybody. Have a great day.
Goodbye.